Is anybody out there?
Mark Radcliffe. 1FM. Oh, yes.
Anyway, Dick Dale, then. You've been meeting the legend of the surf guitar. Oh, that sounded like your comedy farting noise, that, didn't it, Lard? Not that time, it didn't.
No.
Right, go on then. So what was he like, Dick Dale? He looks horrible now. He's got a big ponytail, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, there's that, which does tend to put you off people. But the other thing is, I didn't know till I'd met him that he was responsible for virtually every good thing that's ever happened in the world.
Oh, aye.
Yeah, no, he told me all of this. He was the first person to ever play power guitar, whatever. I don't know what that means.
Right.
But no one had ever played power guitar before Dick Dale. And this is how he says it. Everything's in the third person. And then Dick Dale did this, and then Dick Dale did that.
Right,
and
yeah.
Dick Dale was the first person to get live music played in California. Unless you were in a big band or a church choir or something, no one was allowed to go and see live music. But Dick Dale kept taking the people around from one town to another,
right.
And 4,000 people would follow him from each town.
Very likely,
you know, like the Pied Piper kind of thing,
like
and
the BMX bandits in Worcester.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. Yeah, you sort of invented live music in Worcester, didn't you?
Yeah, reinvented it.
Yeah, and people,
They all done it
18
first.
people in Worcester now.
Yeah.
Are probably just waiting for the next gig to happen.
Well, what was he like, then? I mean, how old is he? Is he in his 60s or something?
He's probably, let me think, I don't know.
Right.
So he would be about...
Yeah, something like that.
Let me think now. Don't know.
Yeah, 50s. I'd imagine 50s.
Yeah.
In his 50s.
Yeah. But, I mean, apart from the ponytail, and he thinks he invented everything, now give us some other unpleasant things about him.
Well, it's not so much unpleasant. It's just a hard man to talk to, really.
Yeah.
That you can listen to for quite a long time. I interviewed him for like an hour and 20 minutes, and in that time I asked 5 or 6 questions.
Yeah.
And it would go, and you'd say, you know, something quite an easy one. So where did that guitar sound come from, or who were your guitar heroes? And it would go off on like all his great inventions, and it'd be stuff like, I said, when did you first learn to play guitar? And he started going on about when he lived in Boston and he was 7, and he was standing on the street selling newspapers, and he was dreaming that a fairy prince would come up and buy all his newspapers so he could go home early. And, you know, nothing at all to do. And it went on. And throughout the interview, I found out how much lead is in tuna in California,
right,
and how much water he has to bring to his ranch each week to keep himself going and stuff. But I did get a little bit of the history out of it. I don't think much of it's very... I think the word true would apply.
Right.
But this is in Dick Dale's words. He said he was playing guitar with... there was an actual country and western singer called Bonnie Guitar, and he was a backing musician. But as he called her, Bonnie Guitar Watson. So he was playing with Bonnie Guitar Watson, and he thought he was playing just a normal country beat, and this is his word, dung, 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 dung. But apparently I was playing dung, jibba, dung, dung, dung. And so she turned around to me and said, "You're too wild, you can't play with us anymore," and kicked me off stage. And I realised I'd invented a new sound, and I called it rockabilly.
Oh, right.
And then
so
he went on
that
to,
too, then?
yeah, and then he went on to be the first man to climb Everest, and, you know, a few short steps for mankind and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
And worked with all the greats, obviously. Like Hendrix often came along to ask his advice.
Well, this is the sort of common story that's put around, isn't it, that Hendrix took a lot. I mean, this is according to Dick Dale, as you say. It's very difficult to see, like, you know, the connection between Miser Lou and Voodoo Child, isn't it? It's not immediately apparent, apart from the fact there's an electric guitar in there.
So I was talking to Vic Reeves the other day, and apparently he's a Hendrix expert.
Oh, dropped a name there. Sorry.
Hey, who have you? You were knocking about with Lou Reed last week. What are you on about?
wasn't.
You were?
I wasn't knocking about.
You
were knocking him about, weren't you?
I battered him.
You battered him, our kid. Nice one.
Here's Lou Reed.
Well, that's not knocking about, is it?
That's name dropping, surely.
Well, that was my job to name drop. Anyway, don't worry.
What's my job?
It's him, our kid.
Go on,
So
just
this
carry on.
correspondent, if he says anything about Scotland, it'll be, land dropping.
Andy Stewart, distant relation.
No, don't do it, our
Go
kid.
on, what were you saying to Vic Reeves the other day?
I'm not going to tell you now, am I? I only had one interesting fact prepared for the whole show, and you've blown that out of the water.
I'm interested, and I didn't make fun of you.
Well, yeah, okay, I'll tell you. But you two don't listen.
No.
Here's XTC then. I didn't say I'd met him. Although I had,
I didn't say I'd met Vic Reeves. I said I was talking to him.
He wasn't listening.
No, he wasn't even there.
Right.
This is Radio 1 Live from Manchester. Mark Lamarr is here. The boy Lard is here.
Hiya.
And also Douglas Stewart from the BMX Bandits is
Yes,
here.
man.
And yes, to tell us all about the Grand Old Opry, but the sort of the new branch that's open.
Well, it's actually a pretty old branch. I mean, it's been open for decades in Glasgow. It's like, as well as having a real love for things like Big Star and Brian Wilson, the other big one is country music for like Glasgow.
Right.
And this is just, it is the best night out, and it's probably the cheapest night out as well. It like costs you about £1 to get in, and drinks are just...
And that would have some appeal in Glasgow, would it?
Yeah, only enough.
Would it?
Yeah, but
Why are
drinks
Big
being
Star
cheap.
so popular in Scotland? I don't understand it. Not they shouldn't be, but every
I said that
Scottish
to Shane
band-
Ritchie the other night.
I like his duet with, you know...
Because they were never that big anywhere else, but every Scottish band cites Big Star as their big influence.
Apparently, there's like a music shop in Glasgow where that's the biggest selling CD in that shop of all time, which is just bizarre. I mean, everywhere else it's Bat Out of Hell or Thriller.
Really?
But in this one shop it is...
We were
it's
going to
Big
play some
Star.
Big Star tonight, but we changed our minds.
Yeah, because of crap.
It was before. Well, they're not big in
That's just
Levenshulme.
you're not Scottish, you see.
Oh, right, and neither a Big Star.
Nice one,
Anyway, like this, the Grand Old Opry, it's real blanket on the ground type country. It's not like that new Garth Brooks sort of stuff, which for me, I mean, he's got as much about country to contribute as like Rednecks and things like
Right,
that.
yeah,
you know, it's
yeah.
like the real
He's
old
got the
stuff.
hat, and that's it, really.
Yeah, he has got the hat, and
I think
it's an impressive hat.
I think it is to hide an impressive planetarium, which is on the top of his head when he takes his hat off, in a Dwight Yoakam style.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I mean, this place, they serve beans, and there's all these guys like walking about, like in the full gear, you know, the guns, the hat,
Right.
something like Garth. And we have all these fake gunfights, like quick in the draw contests, and you get these cowboys called things like Bobcat, the Tennessee Ranger, Two Gun Tam, Big John McWayne, and my favourite one is the Stranger. I mean, that's kind of mysterious, you know.
Is there every week, the stranger?
That's it.
All right, mate. Hey, how are you having? Usual?
That's exactly what happened. He won the gunfighting competition, and the woman who's the kind of host was like, "Oh, why are you called a stranger? You're no a stranger. You're here every night, you." And it's incredible. And at the end of the night, like, we all kind of gather around the Confederate flag and like salute. 21 gun salute for the American trilogy.
Like
you know,
a Radio
they play,
1 management meeting, that.
they play the American trilogy, and you see tears in all these people's eyes. I mean, genuine tears. It's like normally they're a bus driver, like in Pollock Shaw's or in Govan or something, but you know, their heart does belong in Nashville, and
Right.
it's just such a great night because normally when you go to all these kind of trendy clubs, everybody seems to be there to be seen, and most people who go here, you know, don't want to be seen. You know, it's that sort of
Why are they
place.
dressed in cowboy gear then?
And what about on the bus on the way down there? It's going to stand out, isn't it?
I mean, it's people like me, you know, it's like the kind of, you know, the stars of the town and all that sort of thing, you know, the celebs.
Is this Worcester or Glasgow?
The Grand Old Opry Worcester. Yeah, but that's going to be a new branch I'm going to open there.
So it's a good night out then, is it?
It's just
And the bands
fantastic.
play live.
Yeah, I mean, there's sort of bands that would normally play at your cousin's wedding doing kind of dodgy cover versions of Eric Clapton songs, but they can adjust their set to do things like Divorced, you know, and Blanket on the Ground, as I mentioned, and even like Achy Breaky Heart, which I must admit.
And do they have
is
the
a pretty awful
gunfights
record.
during the set? You know what I mean? Do they, like, while the band is on, and there's like guns going off all the time and everything?
No, we stop for that, and he also stopped for bingo. And,
Is that good old Western pastime?
yeah, it's great. And this week, I have to mention this because I think this deserves a round of applause. They raised £36 for Erskine Hospital. £36, and we're going to get 2 pillows, I think, for that.
What a fine charitable effort. Hey, where do you buy your pillows? That is an expensive deluxe pillow, isn't it? £18. All right, we'll have more from Douglas a bit later on. Play Oasis now, and this is for someone in Clapham who faxed saying I was mundane. What do you think about that, Arkid?
Clam.
I know Oasis.
What?
Namedropper.
I know Oasis.
Someone's writing it down mundane. Had someone in from Huddersfield saying it was dull as dishwater. What do you think about that, Ark? It's not been a good week, has it, really?
It's been a good week for me.
Yeah.
I've had a few poems, actually.
We'll get to those later.
Oh, aye.
Not so good as you might think. Douglas Stewart, the BMX
The
band.
verb. You sounded like you said the.
Did I?
Yeah, so just to point out, people who thought that was a the.
Right. Well, thank you for hauling me up on that one. Mark's Lamarr.
Namedropper.
Lard has left the room, so things are looking up.
Yeah, party time.
So you had just a final postscript on the Grand Old Opry Glasgow branch.
Yeah, I was just thinking about one of the things I've noticed that's strange is there's a sort of sign up saying live ammunition has been banned for 10 years. And I just find that kind of really disturbing. I kind of wonder what used to happen. Kind of John McWayne is no longer here. You know?
Tombstones on.
Was
the
live
stage.
ammunition banned that recently in Scotland? Why would people need to be armed? The big Star riots of 85 or something, was that when it all came about?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure you weren't allowed to just go about shooting people, although I was too young to remember, but it's kind of strange. I mean, they still have, I mean, the guns do look...
How old are you now?
Same age as Bobby Gillespie, honest.
Well, then 10
18.
years ago, you would remember 10 years ago. Definitely. I remember 10 years ago.
And talking of guns, I believe Dick Dale invented the gun.
Yeah, he was called Smith. And his partner was called Wesson at the time, but yeah, he invented the gun. And obviously I can't call him Dick Dale anymore because I'll be accused of name dropping.
Hey, have you heard of him?
King of the surf guitar, I'll have to call him from now on.
Right, yeah.
So yes, I interviewed the king of the surf guitar, and of course he brought back the first surfboard back to the East Coast.
Right.
Well, obviously he would have done.
So keen is he on surfing now? He lives in the middle of the desert, doesn't he?
Yeah, he lives in the middle of the desert with a load of lions and tigers. But there's a reason. There's a reason he can't surf.
Right.
It's because he's got on some big ecology thing where his cat scratched him. Or, you know, this is another one of these Dick Dale stories that starts nowhere and ends nowhere. his cat scratched him. He had a few little scratches on his leg, went out surfing, and his whole leg blew up the size of Mr. Blobby. Right. And he realised that there were so many additives in the water in the sea there.
And now he's
moved out into the desert, and he's got a mountain lion in his main bedroom. And I don't know why you asked me that, because that was where it went basically. But there were some great stories he told me. That he told one of my favourites, and this really sticks in my mind, was he said, the first album I brought it out on my own label, and it sold 88,000 copies. Which, like today, that's 4 million.
And that's inflation.
Yeah, there was no way that he never backed it up, and I thought best of asking him, really. Yeah. But he's convinced that 88,000 30 years ago is 4 million nowadays.
Well, that's all right. So in 20 years, 18 in Worcester, Douglas, it'll be like Altamont all over again. So you're all right.
With the murder included.
Absolutely.
And so I asked him how it's Miserloo. I didn't know. I thought it was
right. I always say Miserloo, yeah.
Because it was quite important, because I had to introduce him one night at one of his gigs in London.
Right.
And I'm a big Dick Dale fan, or I was. And I went on to introduce him, but obviously everyone that was at the gig...
Introduce Dick Dale.
Name dropper.
I didn't call him Dick Dale, though.
No, obviously.
No, I wasn't in there.
But that pillock with the tiger.
Yeah, and the long hair.
Yeah.
But I went on to introduce him, and I thought, like, proper showbiz, if I just reel off, like, some of his songs, and people might applaud, and then I can get him on.
Yeah.
But obviously no one knew any of his songs that hadn't been in Pulp Fiction. So I was going, the man behind Surf Beat, the man behind The Wedge, the man behind that, and everyone's like, who? What?
The man behind the curtain. Come on, Dick, bloody hell.
But anyway, he told me some. I asked him how Miserloo came about, and it goes back to Gene Krupa and Hank Williams and his parents, and a story that's not really worth repeating. But apparently, I can't remember the exact details. One of his parents is from Beirut, and the other one is Polish. And one side of the family, it comes from the very jolly nation of the two, and I can't remember for the life of me which of the jollier nation out, the Polish or the Lebanese.
It's stiff, that.
I don't know.
But anyway, at the great Polish or Lebanese weddings, there was a tune they played that went da 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 da, and that was where Miserloo came from, apparently. So he was trying to play it one night in the style of Gene Krupa on the guitar. You know, this goes on and on and on.
I thought Gene Krupa was a drummer.
Exactly. Right. And then he's on stage, and for no reason, and out of the blue, and I did ask him why this happened, and he couldn't explain to me. A 10-year-old boy walked up to him while he was playing on stage and said, "Can you play anything on one string?" And I said, well, why? That seems like a very strange request.
It's not a great ambition, is it? Really?
A 10-year-old boy comes, and he said, so, this really bugged me, as it obviously would.
Yeah.
He said, so I went home and tried to play something on one string. And that's where Miserloo came from. And then we had, of course, the King of Surf Guitar, great stories about the great legends he's met in his time and stuff, like Elvis. Obviously, in 1964, as you've probably heard this story a million times, in 1964, Elvis bought a new Stutz Bearcat, and because he had no friends, he rang up Dick to go for a drive in his new car.
Right.
So they're driving down Santa Monica Boulevard, and Elvis is wearing, it's midnight, Elvis is wearing his sunglasses because a woman had tried to stab his eye out with a pencil. And, I've read a few Elvis books.
Well
at my time.
documented.
Yeah, never heard this story. So I did say to him, I've never heard that story, Dick. And he went, well, you have now. So we were driving along down Santa Monica Boulevard, and some police pulled up alongside us because Elvis had been speeding. They pulled us over, and we stopped, and they looked over, and they saw it was Elvis in his sunglasses, and they said, do you need a manager? And that was the end of the story. And I was thinking, if you're going to make up a story about Elvis, have a point or a punchline or some bit of interest. But it just ends up as Elvis is wearing sunglasses. that was pretty much the story. Right. And that's, the great mind of Dick Dale.
Dick Dale. Great.
Bet they were good sunglasses. Sorry? Bet they were good sunglasses, but...
You need a good pair of sunglasses to cover up that pencil wound.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting.
Best bang of tune on that, okay.
Anyway, it says that the bit of information that came from Simon Armitage, the name of the fox in Beatrix Potter. Anybody know before I give the answer out?
Basil Brush.
Mr. Todd. Okay, so that's... And,
Hold on, I missed something here. Why do we know that now?
What?
The name of the fox.
Because I've just told you, that's why you know it now.
Why did you just tell me?
Well, because it was a question that was raised on Monday night when Simon Armitage was on.
Pay attention, you.
In what context did he raise that?
He said, what is the name of the fox in Beatrix Potter?
Oh, I see, just directly.
And I said, I don't know. And someone's written in and answered. And so we've sorted it out now, Mark.
What is it again?
Mr. Todd. There you go. You see. Right. Anyway, Douglas Stewart. It's a BMX band, of course, based in Glasgow. And Glasgow's gearing itself up for Mayfest.
Yeah, Mayfest, which happens in May, as I said, by coincidence. But it's sort of like the Edinburgh Festival, only I think it's a bit less... highbrow. I mean, the Fringe isn't like really highbrow or anything, but this is like backed with the Glasgow District Council, and it's like a kind of really street level sort of thing. And there's everything. There's dance, theatre, film, visual arts, circus, comedy. And this year the big emphasis is on music. Right. You've got everything from Hole to Michael Nyman playing music from a piano, to Salad, to Supergrass, to Desmond Decker and Aces, which I think I'm going to go to that one. And also to Fats Domino, which I think is amazing. I mean, I thought he was dead.
He must be obese, Domino, by now.
Yeah, there's a picture of him in the programme, and he actually looks quite good in it. And he's at the King's Theatre, so you can see him pushing his piano at the King's Theatre on the 19th of May. And also, the other big emphasis is on country music again.
Sorry, go on.
Mary Chapin Carpenter. She's kind of playing, and I mean, that's not really the sort of thing that interests me.
Harry's daughter, isn't it?
And you've also got like a Nashville Songwriters Night, and it's like these people who I've never heard of, like Pat Alger, John Vesner, and Costas. You're going, who? But apparently these are the people who write all the songs for Garth Brooks and all these people. So if you want to go along and fight them, punch them for me. They're at the ferry on the 7th of May.
There's an amnesty on live ammunition that night, apparently.
Yeah, you can take along your guns and like blow them away.
Sorry, I tried to say amnesty and ammunition in quite quick succession there and couldn't do it.
Very nearly, yeah.
Draw Costas.
Who?
Costas, I mean.
Costas.
But the highlight of that is there is someone good playing in the country section. There's a guy called Steve Young he was like a contemporary with Gene Clark and Graham Parsons. Yeah. And he's probably less famous because he wasn't in the Birds, and also he's not dead.
Right.
But he's playing with Glasgow's own Radio Sweethearts, who features Earl Francis on drums.
Oh, your drummer on the motorcycle.
He plays with everybody. And the Radio Sweethearts are worth seeing. They're the sort of band you go and see and you think, wow, that's a really great song. Who did the original? And then you discover it's all their own songs. So they're really worth seeing. And if you want a programme for Mayfest, I've got the hotline number here, so grab a pen and paper.
Go on, Lard, grab a pen and paper and make some token effort.
Well, Supergrass are playing as well.
Yeah, Supergrass.
He said that.
Oh, did he? Yeah. So I was reading.
You're not listening.
You're supposed to be listening.
Pay attention, you.
Did you mention the Delgados?
I didn't mention them.
because I love them. Oh. Are they good? You all know each other, all you Glasgow bands?
Yeah, they're lovely people. Lovely.
I only wish Mary Chapin Carpenter was on, don't you?
I like Charlie Chapin Carpenter.
Is Fats Domino on?
Oh.
Yeah, he's on, and he's going to be pushing his piano, apparently.
Hey, Supergrass are on.
And Fats Domino, is he on?
Yeah.
Is he? And Douglas Stewart of the BMX Bandits is also still here. You've got someone residing in our Where Are They Now farm.
Yeah, I was listening to you asking where was Nick Nicely.
Nick Nicely,
who made that fantastic record you played last night.
Hilly Fields.
And Mayfest, all this culture's happening in Glasgow, but sadly there's two people who are sadly missing, and they are the Al Jolson buskers, the famous Al Jolson buskers of Glasgow. There was one who was kind of 7 stone, the other one who was a 20 stone lollipop man, and they both just suddenly vanished.
You mean he was in the shape of a lollipop, or he was that was his job?
No, he was 20 stone. That was his day job. It was amazing he wasn't able to quit and just concentrate on the Al Jolson act, because it was very good. And all these guys did that was very bizarre was they just put on a tape of Al Jolson on a ghetto blaster, turned up too loud so it distorted beyond recognition, blacked up, and mimed to Al. And I mean, incredibly unpolitically correct and things, but slightly inspiring as well. In fact, one of them, actually, a friend of mine saw him getting arrested because there used to be a spray paint campaign going around Glasgow where he used to spray Al Jolson lives in every single wall possible. And my friend actually
It's so
saw him.
factually inaccurate, isn't it?
I saw him getting, my friend saw him getting arrested, and it was like police went up to him and went, Al Jolson, you're nicked. I mean, that's just, I'd love to have seen that. And
Didn't this inspire a politically incorrect, blacked up performance by somebody not a million miles from this table, Douglas?
oh, you mean my friend who wasn't me?
Yes. Yeah.
No, well, once in our early days, I got offered £70 to find a support act. And I thought, £70.
Good, you're only getting paid 30 yourself for headlining.
That seems good. So I thought, if I dress up like these Al Jolson buskers, no one will know it's me. So I went on and done a tribute set to Al Jolson, and I was walking out the dressing room towards the stage, and everybody's like, all right, Douglas, how you doing? Looking good tonight, Douglas? Very colour in your cheeks.
And that's how you got the name The Stranger. Right, yeah.
I had a taxi journey once. It was like from an airport to my. I've been somewhere very exotic, which I won't name now because there'll be all sorts of sniping and
And who
jealousy.
have you been there to interview?
Oh, someone incredibly famous that you'd never come across in your life. But the taxi driver on the way back, and I got off the plane and I had no sleep, and I said, "Can I go to sleep?" And he said, "Yeah, okay." Put the seat down, and obviously he didn't shut up, didn't take a breath for the whole journey home, and he was going on with. It was kind of like the normal racist diatribe you expect from some taxi drivers, but he kept changing it. So he'd say like, "Of course, it all changed, didn't it? All changed in the 50s. They all came over, didn't they? They all came over in the 50s. All of them from Trinidad and Jamaica. Thousands of them weren't in the factories. They all came over, didn't they? Lovely blokes, hard working," and he went on, and then he sort of kept changing the tuners. And he's going, of course, in the 70s, all the taxi driving, it changed. All the Greeks came over and the Australians, very good at their jobs, you know, he was all this. But he said, mate, it's all gone too far on it, because like the Black and White Minstrel Show, a great show, and I worked with a lot of black people, a lot of them didn't mind it, you know, and it's all going too far. Nowadays, you can't have Black and White Minstrel Show. And you think about this, without the Black and White Minstrel Show, there'll never be another Al Jolson. And this was like a very important thing in his mind. But now you've put his mind at rest because there were two at least. And he lives anyway.
Three.
It doesn't make any difference. Yeah, three, including you.
Including
Don't
Douglas.
you try and detach yourself from
I'll
all
try and
that.
forget about that.
Now, Lard, you've got some mail that's
Yeah.
fascinating you there.
Yeah. Well, I got a good rollicking, actually, from Denise, who gave me a good rollicking because I didn't read out a poem by her friend Zoe.
Right.
So Denise wrote a poem and also sent another poem from Zoe. Now, this will explain itself, really. This is Denise's poem. Mark Riley is the greatest, the one we all adore. Quite right.
Namedropper.
He was once a guitarist with the band The Fall, Namedropper. All right, our kid, fancy a brew, is his cheerful calling card. Mark Riley is the very man that we call Lard. And, you know, yeah, it's a good poem, that, isn't it? Don't you think? Yeah. But then this one from Zoe says, "Oh, Lardy, Lard, we love you. There's not a lot that you can't do," or something. "Oh, Lardy, Lardy, you are the best. We'd love to stroke your scrumptious chest." Now, I can't go any further than that because it starts getting all fruity. And that's the thing you see about women, isn't it? I mean, they want to kiss and then they want it all, don't they?
Oh, yeah, in your dream,
Well,
Lard.
it's true. So,
I've got another poem about you here.
Oh,
Actually,
yeah, it's a photo.
A bumper. Well, there's a photo of a sheep.
Oh, no.
It doesn't get fruity. It says, "I wish I was your mum." That's not fruity in anyone's world.
Well, yeah, to some
maybe in
people.
yours, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
you
sorry,
never know.
Right, okay. Well, look, this is from Joe and the Sheep, somewhere in London, and on a card designed by Kerry Ward, age 10, of Viking Primary School, Northolt.
Very nice.
You'd have to say it's a crap card.
Further sheep myself.
But anyway, I mean, I'd like to say it was great, you know, but that is a crap picture,
card.
isn't it? Kerry, I mean, you know, do better if you're going to design cards. It's pathetic. Anyway, dear Mark and Lard, "Oh, Lardy boy, can it be true? You never cease to annoy, saying fancy a brew. You think you're funny, but you're blatantly not. If melted, you'd be runny and drained off the pot. You never have anything interesting to say, but sit there drinking all through the day. I can't wait till the summer when it's nice and hot, in which it will not be a bummer and I won't miss you a lot. When you're congealed by the weather, it will not be hard to say au revoir to the wonder boy Lard."
Well, you couldn't even read that, so she can't even write properly. So there you go. What can I say?
Well, she can't be held responsible for my ability to read or not.
Right,
can she?
and also, some of the rhymes in your poem from Zoe. "Make another record so we can hear you sing ding-a-ling-ding."
Good, that.
And look at you, sat there in the corner of a
guess
room
what?
there, reading out poems to your own glorification.
"Oh,
you
how I
sad
wish I
oaf.
was your mum. Tum-ty-tum-ty-tum-tum-tum."
Yeah, well, that's
No,
good
not
stuff.
Tumty Tom. Tom.
Oh, no, that's not very good.
That isn't very good at all. Right, we're going to have a track from, well, Is the Actor Happy, the new Vic Chestnut album, and he's on the Mark Lamarr show next week.
Name dropper.
And so onion soup is what we're going to have, and thereafter we will have an onion mix.
Name dropper.
What, onion? What are you talking about?
Vegetable dropper.
That's the word I'm looking for. Vegetable dropper.
You spoilt the intro to the record now. Have you said everything you're going to say?
Nearly.
Go on, do your comedy farty noise, because that's the only bit of your repertoire you've not done. Right. Right, so Douglas, what are you up to then in the next few days? Anything exciting?
Well, I guess I'm going to go home and play with little bouncing Rhonda.
Oh, right, yes.
I'm always mentioning her.
You
aren't I?
always
I
get round to your offspring.
I care. I want the listeners to know I can breed.
Right, okay, yes, okay, worth mentioning. And you're back in Manchester on Sunday night to watch Hull.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, lad? What are you up to?
I'm pig farming tomorrow.
You're not?
I am.
Are you?
No, I'm doing some show business probably somewhere or other.
Are you?
I would have thought so.
Right, okay. Well, Claire Sturgis is on next, you know.
Who?
Claire Sturgis.
All right.
Right. Don't play all
I'm just
coy.
playing hard to get. I'm having all these poems from women, you know. You've got to get myself.
Get out of here.
Baz Luhrmann was doing Mayfest, did I mention?
Is he?
Yeah, and Supergrass.
It's a pity Mary Chapin Carpenter's not on. Well, I'll just take this opportunity of having 2 minutes of signature tune to tell you that on tomorrow night's programme we'll have Will Self and an acoustic session from the Boo Radleys. And Claire Sturgis is next. Is she? Stay tuned for Claire Sturgis. Claire Sturgis? And don't forget, through the night, it's Claire Sturgis.
Name dropper.
Mark Radcliffe, missing you already.
Thank you, Mark, and my name's Claire Sturgis.